fabricate a window, or rather how to make a window. First of all, we have to put into our consideration of selection of tools. We have to make sure that you have the different variety of tools. They have these handy tools. This is an axle frame. It has an axle blade in it. And this is our major tool, which we use on measuring. Is a measuring tool. We have also what we call back square or trial square rather. So now, let us try to be selective on the material. We are going to use door frame. This is what we call door frame. This is a profile. It has a profile, this profile. And we have also to use the whole section. This section is 20 by 40 millimeter with its thickness of 1.5. We have to go and prepare the material as our second step. We also have this, our safety must be observed to cover our face. It's called shield mask. This mask, it protects our face, our eyes, and from X-rays from the welding. So it is very important to use this mask, or otherwise some people they use these small ones, the goggles, which is not recommendable. This has a glass which is 10 microns, so that one can resist any X-rays coming into your eyes, and even for you to burn your body cells. After selecting the tools and the material, so now we are going on the step number 3 to prepare the material, preparation of the material. So we have to use our vise so that we can grip this material to the vise, and then we start off cutting. Preparation is very important, because once you make any error in the preparation, then you can't achieve with the good production. One square, you can't get proper squares, you can't get the workmanship will be a problem to you, and the angularities. So these are the profiles we are going to use, making the frame of the window. So we are going to cut off some provisions in this profile so that we can be able to assemble the frame of the window. Let us go to the cutting. Our next step is preparation of the material. We have what we call a vise, bench vise, and as you have remember, I have told you the tools we are using on this in preparation of the material. My student will take you through on this. It's called Mayanja. Is a second year student, finalist. So he can take you on this.
Hello viewers, my name I'm Kanji Daniel, second year student Lugogo Vocation, and we are going to a process called material preparation and then cutting. Here where we are, this is our working bench, and it has a vise where we clamp our material or our workpiece for cutting. After tightening it, you have to know the measurements. The measurements you are going to cut. Now if I'm going to cut 59 or 50 centimeters, I'm going to use centimeters, but you can also use millimeters and then inches. Yeah, but me, I'm going to use centimeters. Now, if I'm going to cut 50 centimeters, I have to know my tape. My tape contains centimeters, millimeters, and then inches, even meters. So, 50 meters, there will be self-explanatory to the tape. 50, where you see 50 on the downer scale, that's where you mark. I use my scriber. I use my scriber for marking where I'm going to cut. To some people, you who are wealthy, you can use a chalk to some workshops. But we people who are local, I can use my local scriber. Yeah. After that, I have in my hands what I call a tri-square. This tri-square contains of two angles, 90 and then 45. So it depends to the way you want to join that workpiece, that material, whether to an angle of 45 or to an angle of 90. But me, what I want, it's 90. So this is how I mark my 90. After marking my angle of 90, I have to put it just nearer to the vise for proper firmness. I tighten it. Then after that, I have to get my tool called the axle. This axle is the most cheap tool which is used in most of the workshops, even outside. Yeah, but there are also some machines used for cutting, but we are going to use our axle to cut. Now, using this axle, first of all, you have to be straight. After you being straight, this axle doesn't need a lot of energy on it. It has some defects when you use a lot of energy. You have to be straight, but only I can tell you to be straight and to leave it flow. We are done. So after that, you uncramp our material, and then after cutting, we are going to our next process of joining. From this step now, we are going to what we call assembling. Assembling contains of joining metals, but just stacking them, not spot welding. Most people, they normally use spot welding, but spot welding is another type of welding. So we are going to tack joining or assembling. That's our next step from here. This is step 4. We are from cutting. Now we are going for assembling, which is step 4 in welding. Now we have already cut our work pieces to our measurements. So now what we are going to do is assembling, and in assembling we use what we call tacks or fillet. Tacks, these are small weldments which can be easily disassembled. When you have made any mistake, you can easily disassemble them and then you rectify that mistake. So we have what we call our machine, our welding machine. It's a portable one. In case you have a site, there is no need you to take the other big workshop machine because it's so heavy. But this one is portable, light. Those are some of the advantages of this portable welding machine. And now we have our magnet. I'm using this magnet because my working bench, it's metallic. So I'm going to use my magnet to help me hold this workpiece in one position. And in that, I also have a tape measure to check my measurements when I'm assembling. I also have what I call a tri-square. This tri-square, as I told you, it contains of two angles, 45 and then 90. I'm going to join my workpieces to an angle of 90 degrees. So I have to use a tri-square to help me attain that angle. I also have a welding mask. To some, they call it shield. Now this one is automatic. We have also the other manual one, but this one is automatic. In case you cannot afford it, you can go and buy the other manual one. It's a bit cheap. Now during our assembling process, I'm going to join door frames. This material, it's called a door frame. A door frame, we normally use it in making windows and then doors. That's how it got its name, door frame. Now our door frame, it has 3 sides. It has a side of 30, here it's 35, then here it's 40, also here it's 50. Now if you want to join these 2 door frames, you have to make sure that the 30 side goes with the 30 side of another door frame. If you make any mistake in that, they won't be equal or they won't flash on top. And again, I'm going to use a welding process called arc welding. This is arc welding. We have very many processes, but this is arc welding. So because this is mild steel, when we are joining mild steel materials, there are 2 processes, 3. We can use gas, we can use arc welding, and then we can use MAG. Now, we are going to carry on our assembling. As I told you, I use my magnet to help me hold my workpiece in one position. As you see it, it's already in one position now. I don't have to disturb myself with again putting it side by side. Then I also get my other workpiece. I make sure that this 40 goes with this 40. Now I think you can see that it's flashing on top. I use my tri-square to get my angle of 90. As you see my tri-square, it gives you the proper angle you need. This is now, it's called 90 degrees. This angle now. And in case you have a protractor and you want to measure, you will see that it will give you 90 degrees. So after that, I have to tack it. And in tacking, we use the element, the welding element. Now this one, its importance is to protect your eyes and then your skin or face from these ultraviolet rays, because they can damage your eyes. When you go old, you won't see, but if you use this one, your eyes will be protected, and also your skin, because when we do the welding, there are some gases like these ones you see. These gases, they cause cancer when they go into your skin. So we use this one to protect ourselves from all those defects of welding. This is what I call attack. What I've done, it's called attack. In case I've made any mistake, or my workpiece is not to the measurements I need, if I check and it's not to the right measurements I need, I can easily break this and then I rectify my mistake. When we are assembling, we don't do full welding. You have to do full welding. Okay, that's another process, our finalizing process. Now after that, you have to check again whether it's still on your angle 90. Our workpiece is still on an angle 90. You check, because when we do welding, this is heat. Heat, in case you apply heat to any substance, we have what we call detortion. When you do welding, that heat tends to pull this material to a different angle which you need. So you check again. When you see that it's on your right angle, you tack it permanently. Now, after all that process, you check your measurements. We have the right measurements. They are the right measurements. You check on both sides. Yes, those are our right measurements. You check the angle. It's fine. That's our angle. So now, after all that, we can go to our next process. This is now our window frame. We have finished to cut, to assemble. It's to our right measurements. The angles, I think you can see them. We use our tri-square to attain these angles. All angles at 90. Now we are going to full weld it. After tacking, you check whatever you need to check, the measurements, the angles, and then we go to full welding. After full welding, first of all, we do full welding to strengthen this frame. Because to some people, they do only tack welding and then they put filler. But filler, it's not that strong as a full welded frame. Full welding is more stronger. It's stronger than just filling it with filler. Yes, that's why we do full welding. And then after full welding, you do inspection. Inspection, you get your plan or the frame they gave you on a paper, and then you see that what is on a paper is what you have done. That's what we call inspection. From here, we are going to the finishing process, because we can't leave our joint the way you see it. It's very rough, and our customer needs a smooth joint. So we have to take it to the finishing site, and then they do finishing on our frame.
By the names of Kabuye Lawrence, second year student in welding and fabrication. Really, I'm going to take part of finishing of the product we have done. So let me start by presenting the materials I'm going to use. I have some tools. I have a grinding disc. Then I have a flap disc. This one does the final finishing. Then I'm going to start by preparing the grinder I'm going to use. This is how we put the grinding disc on the grinder. And you must make sure that it is too tight. We tighten it a little bit. If at all you don't have a key, you can use this for emergency. After preparing the grinder with the initial grinding disc, so you get your clear goggle. Then after getting it, you can put it on. Then you get a grinder. You must follow the joint how it has been welded. Then after, we can remove this grinding disc. Then we put this one as a flap disc. It does the polishing. So we just put it on the head of the grinder. Then after putting it, you tighten. Then when we are doing this, you follow the joint how it has been welded, because for some good work. do that. Then you polish a little bit. So mostly the important part of it, for us to do the finishing like that, so that you can see how the joint has been welded well. And if at all the joint has not been welded well, you can see some gaps, a little bit of gaps when it has not been welded well. Really, after maybe we can do the cleaning. If at all the product has been it's done, then we can do the finishing. You know, bringing like sandpapering. We sandpaper it. Then we can use a wire brush in case. Then we do the spraying.
After fabrication and the product is out, it's time for spraying. But before spraying, we have to make sure that we prepare the surface. By preparing the surface, we do sanding. We are using the sandpaper. Now when the surface becomes clean, we connect our compressor. That compressor provides us with pressure. That pressure mixes with the paint, which is put in this spray gun. Now before spraying, you have to cover yourself with a mask. This is how we put on the mask. Now after the mask is on, then you start spraying. Yes, before we put on undercoat first. This is the undercoat, red oxide. After the undercoat, you leave it to dry. After it dries, you put any color of your choice. So that is when the product is thoroughly finished. Yeah, that is the process.
This is how to make a window.